there was nothing scheduled in the studio. I don't remember what I was doing, something fairly routine. It's my impression that they were upstairs talking to Wexler or Ahmet, somebody, and had asked if the studio was open. That's my vague memory or my vague impression of that day, since nobody breathed a word of this until all of a sudden it was like a phone call from upstairs. Is the studio open? And bada-boom. They just came in there, and you know, all of a sudden I was told to go and, you know, work with them and cut a track. I met them and, you know, and saw that the one thing I noticed is that Neil seemed to be uptight or pouting, and he was like, he positioned his chair as close to as possible to the control room door, you know, I mean, such that we had to kind of make our way past him. And there he parked himself, and his tone of voice didn't seem to be anything optimistic or cheerful, like we were going to make a record. We went out to look at the studio. Now, I guess they kind of wanted to do this in New York because this was the room that, you know, this and that and the other thing had been recorded. And I showed them the drum booth. Well, you really couldn't get a full set of rock and roll drums in this drum booth. It was like a rolling enclosure that, you know, might have been 4x4 or 5x5 or whatever, but was tight. And we set up the drums in a hard surface corner of the studio, and we proceeded to cut the basic track for Mr. Soul. And once the music was going, things were going well. And yes, I do think there was a pilot vocal at the time. I know that it was kind of bare bones track. And they seemed to be fairly happy enough with, you know, that they had at least gotten something on tape that they could take back to California. I asked them if they wanted to experiment with turning the tape upside down and try to record something backwards, you know, because I had just found that out, that you turn the tape upside down. And of course now the #1 channel was now number 8, so you had to be like a little clear about where you were going to record, because now all of the numbers were flipped. So we ran the tape backwards, and they said, what should we record? And I said, anything you want, which was a mistake, because they put a percussive kind of acoustic note down on there, and of course it didn't play back very well. It went, yep, yep, you know, and it was just this backwards note. Later on I realized I probably should have told them to do something more sinuous, or, you know, sort of something without a lot of attack and decay, like a very limited guitar. But it was an interesting experiment, and I don't think it made a very good impression on them, that it didn't get results. But at any rate, it seemed like it was the end of the session anyhow. It was getting late, and we packed up the tape for them, and I guess it went to California.